Section 1. Can I have the parties announce themselves for the record, please?
Good morning, Lakeisha Halen, Office of the Public Defender.
And good morning, Edith Bush for the Office of the State Attorney.
All right, good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name, please?
Brian Todd Andrews.
All right, Mr. Andrews, you're here in 2020 MO 369AO. You're arrested for open container violation. Did you find probable cause? And I'll appoint the public defender. I think there was an offer yesterday extended. Ms. Custon was here. I don't know if she communicated any of that to you, Ms. Haley.
Yes, Your Honor. The offer I have here is adjudication guilt, 4 days in court costs.
Okay, what is he,
And
3 now?
Today, he would have 3
3
days.
days. So he'll get out today. It's just the end of the day, probably, okay? You want to do that, Mr. Andrews?
Your Honor, yes, Mr. Andrews is going to accept the offer.
Okay. I wish I had a snapshot of your face. All right, Mr. Andrews, is that your signature at the bottom of the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything contained in the plea form? You understand all those rights you're giving up by entering the plea? Is that a yes? I
Yes,
need a
ma'am.
yes
Yes,
or a
ma'am.
no. Okay, all right. Are you on probation anywhere?
Ma'am?
Are you on probation anywhere?
No, ma'am.
You understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I find a factual basis to accept your plea based on the affidavit in the court file. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 4 days with credit for 3 days' time served. Order that you pay your court costs by March 4th, 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
If you'd like to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one would be appointed for you. Good luck.
Yes, ma'am.
Have a good day. All right. All right, tell me your name, please.
James Coons.
All right, Mr. Coons, you're here in 2020 MO 370AO. You're arrested for disorderly conduct. And I do find probable cause. I don't have a form for the public defender. Did you fill one out? I don't know. No? Do you want to try to resolve your case today? Does he have one?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I have one now. So I'll appoint the public defender, and I think this was also a reset from yesterday.
Yes, Your Honor.
An offer was conveyed yesterday as well.
And I have as an adjudication guilt, 7 days in court costs.
Okay, and he would have 3 today.
Your Honor, Mr. Coons is going to accept the offer.
Okay.
It's just 7 days, right?
All right, Mr. Coons, is that your signature at the bottom of the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything contained in the plea form?
What day do I get out?
Well, that's not my question, and I don't know what day you'll get out, but you have 7 days with credit for 3, okay? So, you'll get out in a couple days. Did you understand everything in the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand all those rights you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on probation anywhere?
No.
All right, you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I do find a factual basis to accept your plea based on the affidavit. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 7 days with credit for 3 days' time served. I'll order you pay your court costs by March 4th, 2021. If you'd like to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Good luck, Mr. Coons. Have a good day. All right, good morning, ma'am. Can you tell me your name, please?
Yvette Mills?
Miss Mells?
Yes.
Okay, all right. You're here in 2020 CF 2959. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for sale and delivery of cocaine. And I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no contact with any witnesses in the case. And the bond will stay set at the $7,500.
I'm getting arrested for something I didn't do.
Okay, we'll speak with your attorney about it.
Jesus Christ.
You want,
So.
All right, good morning.
Good
Morning. Tell me your name, please.
Elena Ross.
All right, Ms. Ross, you're here in 2019 CF 15410BO. And the state did file an information charging you with burglary of a dwelling with an assault or a battery and criminal mischief with damage of more than $200. And I have a form for the public defender, and I'm gonna appoint them to represent you in your case. Ms. Bush, count 1 is a punishable by life felony. Does the state wish to be heard as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. First, the state asks whether or not the court has the probable cause.
I've read it,
document.
yes.
And the state would ask the court to, based on the facts that are contained in that document, facts that are attributed to witnesses and victims that are in a position to know Ms. Ross, and they identified Ms. Ross as the individual that did commit the burglary and did commit the batteries within the residence. The state would ask the court to find that proof is evident or presumption is great based on those facts that Ms. Ross is the person so identified, and with regard to count 1, hold her at no bond, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Haley.
Your Honor, the defense is asking you to take consideration of Ms. Ross's lack of criminal history. We're asking that you set a bond on count 1 in the amount of $10,000.
All right, I've read the affidavit, and I do find proof evident presumption great. And I am gonna hold Ms. Ross at no bond. And so if she is to be released, she's not to return back to the victim's residence. She's not to have any contact with any victim, any witness, or any co-defendant. No weapons, no firearms, and no ammunition, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. And Ms. Ross, the public defender's office is gonna be able to file a motion for you downtown, and you'll have a lengthier bond hearing downtown, okay?
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, and count 2 will be set at, stayed at the 2,500. All right, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Robert Ramon Thomas.
All right, Mr. Thomas, you're here in 2020 CF 27488AO. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant for fleeing and attempting to elude a law enforcement officer. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. You can't drive without a valid driver's license. If you don't have a valid driver's license, you can't drive. And I am going to place you on pretrial release. So you need to make sure that you comply with that order as well as all of their requirements as well, okay?
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Good morning. Tell me your name, please. Mr. Charles?
Charles.
How you doing today? You all right? Okay. All right, you're here in 2020 MM 171780, and you're arrested for trespass on property after warning. And I do find probable cause. And do we have a form or no? Did it fill one out? Okay, I'm gonna appoint the public defender. They represent him in all his other cases. So, Mr. Charles, you can't go back to the Walmart at 2500 South Kirkman Road, no contact with any victims or witnesses, and abide by the trespass warning. All right, I'm not taking any action on the other case, but I am gonna stay the bond at the $500, and the PDs can file any motions that need to be filed. All right, please tell me your name, sir.
Stephen Hadden.
How you doing, Mr. Hadden?
Hi.
All right. You're here in 2020 CF 2873AO, and you're arrested pursuant to a warrant for petty theft 2 priors. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. And the bond will stay at $500. You can't go back. To 25 Wall Street, all right?
Okay.
Can't go back there. Can't have any contact with any victim or witness. In 2020 MM 1710AO, you're arrested for trespass on property after warning and resisting an officer without violence. I do find probable cause for those offenses, and I'll appoint the public defender. Ms. Bush, did you have an offer for that case?
The state's offer in that case would be an adjudication of guilt, 15 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, no return to 1 North Roslyn Avenue, no contact with victim or witnesses, abide by all trespass warnings, and court costs.
All right, do you want to talk to Mr. Hadden real quick?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's probation.
Your Honor, Mr. Hadden wants to accept the offer and plead no contest.
Okay, we can't resolve the other case, Mr. Hadden, because it's a felony, but we can resolve the
What's
misdemeanor.
my felony? What are you talking about?
The petty theft 2 priors, it's a felony case.
What felony case?
The first case that we talked about.
Nobody said felony when I came in today. You said misdemeanor. You said,
There's 2 cases, sir.
you said trespassing.
Mr. Hadden, you have.
I think he's confused because he was arrested on a warrant and not arrested,
What's the felony?
all right?
What is the felony?
Petty theft.
Mr.
It's not a
Hadden,
felony.
we're explaining to you what the felony is. If
What
you
is
don't
it?
want to listen, then.
I do want to listen, but
Okay.
nobody said anything to me.
I
Then you
did, I
that.
said petty theft 2 priors.
That did not know that's a felony.
That's a felony.
Petty theft is not a felony.
With 2 prior convictions, it's a felony. If you don't wanna
Petty
believe.
theft is a
Okay.
felony, but
All right.
did I need to know you because I didn't handle petty
Mr.
theft.
Haddon, we're not gonna resolve your other case today. If
Okay,
you can't move past
no
that.
problem.
Okay, so we're gonna we're resolving your misdemeanor. I cannot resolve the felony. I'm not permitted to do that, okay?
Well, then we done with it.
Okay, so I'll stay the bonds at 500 and 100. You may not
do you
return
mean
back
that I
to
ain't did
1
nothing?
North Roslyn
Petty theft
Avenue.
ain't felony.
Have
Petty
any
theft- petty theft are
contact
not
with any
felonies. I know you
victims
know
or
that.
witnesses in the case and abide by the trespass warning.
You lying, who are you?
All right, please tell me your name.
Leon Noble, good morning.
Good morning. All right, Mr. Noble, you're here in 2019 CF 12904AO. You were arrested pursuant to a capias. The state did file an information charging you with possession of cocaine. And I'll appoint the public, well, I don't have a form for the public, oh, I have a form for the public defender. And so I'll appoint them to represent you in that case. In that case, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. The bond will stay at $1,000. I've also got 2019 CF 8626AO, and that's a failure to appear. Okay, you have a private attorney in that case?
No, ma'am.
No? Let's see. Was it maybe an appointed attorney?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because sometimes private attorneys will get appointed. We'll see who it is, because they're gonna have to file a bond motion for you. I can't change the capias. So you have Rhiannon Arnold. Does that sound familiar?
No.
Okay. Well, Miss Arnold is your attorney. She filed a notice of appearance in November 21st. I'm gonna write her information down for you
Okay.
so that you can call her, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. So I put the case number down there, and her phone number and her name, okay?
Okay, thank
You're
you.
gonna have to call her and let her know that you're here, and that you're set at no bond on the failure to appear, and she'll file a bond motion for you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, good morning.
Good
Can you
morning.
tell me your name, please?
Todrick Peterson.
All right, Mr. Peterson, you're here in 2020 CF 2926AO. I don't know if, Ms. Haling, you saw the bond correction? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and so you're charged with trafficking in heroin over 4 grams, under 14 grams, possession of heroin, possession of MDMA, possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And I do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. And so, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no return to where the offense is alleged to have occurred, and no weapons, no firearms, and no ammunition. The bond will stay at the $100,000, and I'll reduce count 2 to $150, count 3 to $150, count 4 ROR, and count 5 all ROR as well.
Your Honor, would you consider a reduction in count 1?
I mean, you're not giving me any information.
Yes, Your Honor. We're asking if you would consider a reduction to $50,000 on count 1. Mr. Peterson, his last failure to appear was in 1996. He understands the importance of returning back to court, and that's our request, Your Honor, if you would consider the same.
Okay, well, how long were you in prison for, Mr. Peterson?
About altogether about 17 years.
Okay.
But I haven't been in trouble in like the last 11 years.
Well, it looks like you had a conviction for a violation of an injunction in 2017. Remember that?
Yeah, but my wife dropped charges on that.
Okay, but she didn't because you got convicted. So,
I mean, I ain't been in trouble in a minute. That's something different anyway.
do you work?
No, ma'am, I get disability
And how long have you lived in Orlando?
all my life.
Where do you live?
Actually, I live with my mother right now at 3615 Blarney Drive.
All right, I'll reduce the bond to the 50,000. All those same conditions apply. All right, Mr. Peterson?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name? Can you tell me your name?
Justin Gabriel.
All right, Mr. Gabriel, you're here in 2020 MM 1726 AO, and you're arrested for trespass on property after warning. And I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Do we know what's going on with the immigration detainer?
They're actually interviewing it now.
Okay. All right. Is it possible that would get lifted? Do we know? Okay. So what I want to do is possibly call it second session, give them an opportunity to talk to him, because I don't know what they may or may not do. If that, do they ever get lifted after they talk with them? Sometimes? Okay. All right. So we'll just give it a little bit, get him to talk to them, and then we'll recall him, okay? Was there an offer, Ms. Bush, on the case if that was the issue?
Your Honor, there could be,
Right.
however, because he has no record.
Right, but
He may have other options.
I don't think he's going to be able to handle a pretrial diversion, possibly.
Yeah,
Based on my,
and having, there can be an offer, yes, Your Honor.
okay, all right, yes.
ICE is saying that they're not.
They're not lifting it, okay. So I'm going to appoint it's okay. I'll appoint the public defender. Ms. Haley, do you want to waive his appearance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so no return back to the Orlando International Airport, abide by the trespass warning, and no contact with any victims or witnesses. I'll stay the bond, and any motions can be filed. Huh? We're not, they said they weren't gonna lift it, so we're staying the bond, no contact. Abide by the trespass. No return. Thanks. All right, please tell me your name.
Richard James Yost.
All right, Mr. Yost, you're here on a Baker County, out-of-county warrant, and the judge did set your bond at none in the case. And I do have to advise you that you do have reporting requirements as it relates to any status that you have. And Baker County will have 72 hours, not including any weekend or holiday, to come and get you. If they don't pick you up in that time frame, then you'll just come back before a judge here, okay?
Okay. And the bond, ma'am, I have no bond or?
You have no bond on the Baker County warrant. I can't
Okay.
do anything about that, okay?
That's okay.
All right. All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name, please?
Cheryl Len Abbed.
All right, Ms. Abbed, you're here in 2020 CF 2421. The state did file an information charging you with aggravated fleeing and or attempting to elude a law enforcement officer, causing injury or damage to another, DUI with property damage, resisting an officer without violence, and 3 counts of leaving the scene of an accident involving property damage. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, okay? So no contact with any victims or witnesses in the case, no alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription, and you're not to drive without a valid driver's license. And if you don't have a driver's, so yeah, if you have, gotta have a valid driver's license to drive. You do qualify for pretrial release. I'm gonna place you on pretrial release with random urinalysis. So you need to make sure no drugs, no alcohol. If you test positive, that's a violation, and your release can be revoked, okay?
What about prescription drugs?
Only if you have a prescription, you're gonna have to provide that information to your PTR officer that you'll report to. So you wanna make sure that you have your list and all of that information, okay? All right. All right, please tell me your name.
Christopher Alizee.
All right, Mr. Alizee, you're here in 2020 CF 2942. You were arrested for sale and delivery of cocaine, and that's pursuant to a warrant. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case, as well as in your other case, 2020 CF 2943. It's also a warrant, sale and delivery of cocaine. And so no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and no contact with any witnesses, and the bonds will stay at $5,000 and $7,500.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, have a good day. All right, good morning. Tell me your name.
Edward Ambrose.
All right, Mr. Ambrose, you're here in 2020 CF 2915AO. You're arrested for possession of methamphetamine, possession of fentanyl, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. The bonds will stay at $1,000, $150, and $100. I'm not going to take any action on your out on release case. You have a court date coming up. Don't miss any court date. Keep in touch with your attorneys, okay?
Okay.
All right, good morning.
Good morning,
Can you
Judge.
tell me your name?
David Arthur.
All right, Mr. Arthur. You're here in 2020 CF 2510AO. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant. Probable cause was found for petty theft, 2 counts of a violation of the Florida Pawnbroker Act, and dealing in stolen property. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. No contact with any victims or witnesses in the case. No return back to the Cash America Pawn at 825 Lee Road. And the bonds will stay set, as in the warrant, at 100 on count 1, 1,000, and 150 and 150.
Mr. Baker Bond, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Mr. Bailey, his behavior.
Okay. We'll reset Mr. Bailey. All right, tell me your name.
Lloyd Barber.
All All right, Mr. Barber, you're here in 2019 CF 10232AO. It's a failure to appear for a status hearing on a violation of probation on February 24th, 2020. The judge did revoke the release and set the bond at none. Does he have the public defender in that case? Okay. You do have the public defender. They're gonna file any appropriate motions to set bond for you, get you back on the docket too. As it relates to the trespass, I'm not gonna take any action on that. Looks like you have a court date coming up. So, Ms. Haling, does he have the PD in the out on release case? Yes. Okay. So, I don't know if he'll still be in jail, but somebody may want to let his attorney in that case know. Okay. All right, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing today, Your Honor?
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, can you tell me your name?
Darius Deshaun Bowie.
All right, Mr. Bowie. You're here in 2020 CF 2928AO. You're arrested for possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. You do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in that case. And also in 2020 CT 1686. It's a driving while license suspended, and I do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the PD. All right, so I'm gonna stay the bond at 1,000, 100, and 100. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. And in the other case, the $500 bond will stay, and you can't drive without a valid driver's license. I'm not gonna take any action on your out on release cases, but Mr. Bowie, you've got now 2 driving while license suspended cases
I understand, ma'am.
and 2 pot cases, okay? So, stay home.
I need to with my kids.
Okay. All right, tell me your name.
Ryan Bertula.
All right, Mr. Bertula. You're here in 2020 CF 2754AO. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for petty theft, 2 priors, resisting a merchant, and 2 counts of battery. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. No contact with any victims or witnesses. No return back to the target at 3343 Daniels Road in Winter Garden. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. And I'm gonna put you in pretrial release, and it's gonna be face-to-face weekly meetings with your pretrial release.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name?
Matthew Byers.
All right, Mr. Byers, you're here in 2020 CF 2933AO. You're arrested for possession of methamphetamine with a weapon, possession of a firearm with a serial number removed, possession of drug paraphernalia, and resisting an officer without violence. And I find probable cause, and you make $1,000 every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's about 1,000 to 1,500.
Okay, is that after taxes?
Yes.
Okay. And is that steady paycheck every 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. All right, if I stay the bonds, are you gonna be able to bond out?
Yeah, I should be able to bond out, yes, with, you know, the money I'm making from my job. It's just that I probably lost it today, to be honest with you, because you know, I'm not able to contact them or anything like that.
Okay, I'm gonna appoint the PD to represent you, okay?
Okay.
And so no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. I'm gonna stay the bond on count 1 at the 2,500. Count 2, it'll be 150. Count 3, 100, and count 4, 100. Okay, so if you can't make those bonds, the PD's office will be able to help you, okay? All right. Oh, thanks. All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name, please?
Oscar Castro.
All right, Mr. Castro, you're here in 2020 CF 1066, and you were arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for home invasion robbery with a deadly weapon, wearing a mask, and grand theft motor vehicle. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Count 1 is a punishable by life felony. And Ms. Bush, does the state wish to be heard as to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would ask the court to take into consideration the affidavit to issue the arrest warrant, which is a sworn document. In that document, there are facts that are attributed to identifiable witnesses and victims. Those identifiable witnesses and victims did subsequently identify an eyewitness that saw the defendant leave the home, enter the vehicle, was able to identify him in a photo lineup. The state would ask the court to find that proof is evident, or presumption is great that Mr. Castro is one of the 2 victims that did commit the home invasion robbery, and hold him at no bond as to count 1. He is entitled to a bond as to count 2. The state asked the court to stay the bond as listed.
Ms. Hanley?
Your Honor, the affidavit as stated here, the only thing within the affidavit that links Mr. Castro to this crime is the testimony of an alleged co-defendant. While the affidavit states that the 2 alleged defendants here fit the description of the suspects, there's no witness identification of Mr. Castro. There was no items found in his possession, no surveillance footage. Your Honor, based on that, and taking into consideration his lack of criminal history, we would ask that you find that proof is not evident or the presumption is not great, and set a bond of $10,000 on count 1.
All right, so the person who was identified was the co-defendant?
Yes,
Okay,
Your Honor, and
So-
it was the co-defendant that
Right.
identified
Right,
Mr. Castro.
and Ms. Hayden, I do agree with you. It seems as though the co-defendant, Mr. Mendez, knows very specific details about what is alleged to have occurred in the house, which he otherwise might not have known were he not present.
Right, and that's the co-defendant, Your Honor, that
Right.
isn't Mr. Castro.
Right, I understand. And then he's seen with the co-defendant in the vehicle that was stolen. 2 days after the incident, there's a grand theft at the Millennium Mall.
Right.
And he's seen with the co-defendant in the vehicle that's stolen.
Even on that date, the co-defendant identified him. No one else could identify. The co-defendant was the one that mentioned his name.
Well, I do find proof evident, presumption great. I'm gonna give him a bond, though. Before we get there, no return back to the victim's residence, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no contact with any victim, any witness, or any co-defendant, and no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. The bond on count 1 will be $100,000, count 2, $2,500. All right, good morning. Tell me your name.
Michael James Compton.
All right, Mr. Compton, you're here in 2020 CF 2919AO. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was previously found for fleeing or attempting to elude a law enforcement officer and resisting an officer without violence. And I do find, well, there's probable cause already found. I have a form for the public defender and I'll appoint them to represent you. Your bond on count 1 will be $10,000. Count 2 will be 100. All right, good morning. Please tell me your name.
Kenneth Lee Davis Jr.
Mr. Davis, you're here in 2020 CF 2948. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant for destruction of evidence. And I'll appoint the public defender, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and I'll stay the bond at the 100. It's Judge Shea. It's a $100 bond. All right, please tell me your name.
Good morning.
Morning.
Junior Ferguson.
All right, Mr. Ferguson, you're
Yes,
here in 2020 CF 2949. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for trafficking in MDMA with a weapon, possession of MDMA with intent to sell or deliver, and possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver. I just wanted to make note that on the first page of the arrest affidavit, they had trafficking in over 400 grams, so I don't know, that's a mistake.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted corrections to know that. I don't know if they have what's inputted in the warrant, but what's on the affidavit's not correct. So, do we have a form for the, did you fill out a form for the public defender, Mr. Ferguson?
Oh, I get a lawyer, but my lawyer out of town right now.
You're getting your own lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you talked to a lawyer yet?
No, ma'am.
Okay, somebody in your family talking to somebody?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the public defender? And then when you get a lawyer, they can always come into the case.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, where do you work?
I have my detail business.
A detail business?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then, so you pay yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you make last week?
Oh, I come home like about $300-400 after I pay the workers.
Okay, and then the week before that?
A week before I came like about 500 because it was
Okay,
raining.
I'm gonna appoint the PD to represent you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no weapons, no firearms, no ammunition, and no contact with any witnesses in the case. And the bond on count 1 should be $100,000, based on the amount. 27.5 grams, and with a weapon enhances that. All right, I'm gonna reduce that to 50,000. Count 2 will be 150, count 3 will be 150. And if you can't make that bond, sir, the public defender's office will be able to file any motions for you or any private
Thank you so
attorney
much,
that
ma'am.
you hire, okay?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's that. I don't know whatever people input, you know. All right, please tell me your name.
Bailey Galloway.
All right, Mr. Calloway, you're here in 2020 CF 2950. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for sale and delivery of cocaine. And I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. No contact with any witnesses in the case. And the bond will stay at the $7,500. All right, tell me your name, please.
Francisco Gutierrez.
All right, Mr. Gutierrez, we've got two cases here, 2019 CF 14998AO. And in that case, it was a warrant, and probable cause was found for armed robbery, first-degree felony, kidnapping, carrying concealed firearm, and grand theft, third degree. And I'll appoint the public defender. Well, I don't have a form for the public defender. Did you fill one out?
No, I got a private lawyer already.
Okay, who's your private lawyer?
Jonathan Mills.
Who?
Jonathan Mills. Jonathan.
Jonathan Mills.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And when did you talk to Mr. Mills?
I talked to him like 3 days ago.
Okay, let me see if he's filed a notice of appearance yet. So I don't see a notice of appearance in cases. Yeah, so he hasn't filed a notice of appearance yet. Do you know if he's been paid? Because that's usually when somebody files their notice of appearance.
Yep.
He's been paid?
Yep.
Do you want me to contact him or my office and
Yep.
see if he's planning on coming to the initial appearance?
Yep.
And if he's going to file a notice of appearance? Sometimes
Yes.
it gets filed and it just doesn't get in the system for a couple days. So I'm gonna have my JA reach out to him and we'll see if he's gonna come to court. Now, if for some reason he's not able to come to court today, right? And he's able to come tomorrow, do you want me to reset your cases for tomorrow? Because looking at the charges here, there's some first-degree felonies that are punishable by life and some, I think, some life felonies. So it's potentially possible that you could be held at no bond. And then there's nobody here to make any arguments for you unless I appointed the public defender. So do you want me to see if he can't be here today, because I would reset it for the afternoon, do you want me to see, would you want me to reset it for tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, all right, so we'll just recall this second session, and then if Mr. Mills is not coming, we'll readdress that issue if he, I'll see what he says to us, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want me to hold on to that, or? Okay, please tell me your name.
Anthony Hanley.
All right, Mr. Hanley, you're here in 2019 CF 14853AO. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for burglary of a structure, grand theft, dealing in stolen property, and criminal mischief. And I'll appoint, and it looks like the state did file an information as well in the case. And they've charged you with 5 counts. Dealing in stolen property, trafficking, receiving money from a pawnbroker by false verification of ownership or identification, burglary of a structure, well, that's the co-defendant. No, you're Mr. Hanley. And then a grand theft, third degree, and then criminal mischief. So as it relates to that, and it looks like they consolidated the co-defendant in there as well. As for the bond purposes, how do you want me to handle that corrections?
Well, he himself has 4 counts in our systems and
Right.
4 bonds.
Okay. So they did charge, they did charge all of the counts. Okay. All right, so no return back to the Godfather Pawn and Gun East, Orlando. No return back to Ayopa Incorporated at 2716 North Forsyth Road, number 110. No contact with any victims or witnesses in the case. And I'll stay the bond at $3,500, $150, $1,000, and $100. All right, please tell me your name.
William Hannon Harwell.
All right, Mr. Harwell, you're here in 2019 CF 13542AO. It's a failure to appear for trial on February 24th, 2020, and the judge did revoke your release and set the bond at none. And does he have the PD? Okay, you have the public defender. They're gonna have to file a motion to set bond for you.
Ma'am.
Talk to Ms. Haling, and she can tell me what it is that you need to tell me. All right, please tell me your name.
It is visiting Henry, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Henry. You're here in 2020 CF 2954. It's a warrant for sale and delivery of cocaine, and I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in that case. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no contact with any witnesses in the case. And 2019 CF 13708AO, it's a failure to appear for pretrial on February 25th, 2020, and the judge did revoke the release and set the bond at none. Does he have the public defender? Huh?
Yes.
Okay, you have the public defender on that case. They're gonna have to file any motions to set bond for you. I am gonna stay the bond at the 5,000. Why is she offline? Sorry about that. I had to send an email to my JA. Okay, all right. Can you tell me your name?
Gary King.
All right, Mr. King, you're here in 2020 CF 2930AO. You're arrested for petty theft, 2 prior convictions. And I do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you in your case. So no return back to the Walmart at 11250 East Colonial Drive, and no contact with any witnesses or victims, and abide by the trespass warning. And the bond will stay at 1,000. All right, please tell me your name.
Tavares King.
Okay, Mr. King, you're here in 2019 CF 16582AO. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for burglary of a dwelling, grand theft, dealing in stolen property, and receiving money from a pawnbroker by false verification. And I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. No return back to 7912 Snowberry Circle. No return back to the Value Pawn at 4621 South Orange Blossom Trail, and no contact with any victims or witnesses in the case. And the bond will stay set at $7,500 on count 1, count 2. I'll reduce to 150, count 3, 150, and count 4, 150. All right, tell me your name, please.
Elijah Loftin.
All right, Mr. Loftin. You're here in 2020 CF 713. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant for 3 counts of attempted burglary of a conveyance. And I do find probable cause was already found, and I'll appoint the public defender. No return back to these addresses.
Your Honor.
I would talk to the public defender before you say anything on the record.
Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Loftin, you can't go back anywhere on Bending Oak Trail, so you're gonna have to stay away from that street.
I don't believe that was me.
Okay,
also.
well, if you have a defense, then if the state, you haven't even been charged formally by the state attorney's office, okay?
Are you able to lower my bond any?
Well, we'll get there, but I'm telling you, you can't go back to that street, whether you think it was you or not, and that may be very well true, okay? But right now, there's a warrant and probable cause was found, so you can't go back to that street. Now, no contact with any victims or witnesses in the case. Was he interviewed?
Yes, Your Honor, he was.
And he did not qualify? Okay.
No, it looks like there was some conflicting information and we weren't able to call him back to ask more questions.
Me? I don't believe I was interviewed.
Did you give them the name of your significant other, Emily?
Yes, Imani, that's my baby mother. She's we
Okay,
actually
she
paid.
apparently gave a different address to where you reside, and then they weren't able to call back, to call back to verify, and they were unable to qualify you due to that conflicting information. So what I'm gonna, listen. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to set your bond on count 1 at 1,500, count 2, I'll do 150, count 3, 150, or pretrial release if they're able to confirm any information for you, okay? All right. All right, please tell me your name.
Anton Mahalik.
I'm sorry?
Anton Mahalik.
I have Myrtle? Michael Myrtle? Okay, and, okay. Okay. I got that. It was just out of order. All right, and I have a PD form, okay. All right, sir, you're here in 2020 CF 2908880. You're arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. And I do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. The bond will stay at 1,000 and 100. All right, good morning. And you're
morning.
Mr. Myrtle?
Michael Myrtle.
Michael Myrtle? Okay. All right. You're here in 2020 CF 222480. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for fraudulent use of a credit card, criminal use of personal identification, and scheme to defraud. And I'll appoint the public defender. And so no return back to in any Amscot. So no return to any Amscot and no return to the Basement Orlando, that business. I'm not sure if I have an address there. It doesn't say. So no return to that business. And no contact with any victims or witnesses or co-defendants. The bond will stay at 1,000 and 250 on counts 2 and 3. All right, tell me your name.
Shane Pittman.
All right, Mr. Pittman, you're here in 2020 CF 291380. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. And I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. And the bond will stay at 1,000 and 100. I believe that he was not interviewed.
No, he was not.
So I'll do, or pretrial release if you qualify, so they may interview you for that, okay?
All right. I'd just like to ask one question.
Well, why don't you talk to Miss Haling first, because I don't want you to say anything that you'll regret, okay?
Thank you much.
right, tell me your name.
Angela Sanders.
All right, do we know what happened to Saint Vio?
He bonded, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll take no action on that. All right, Ms. Sanders. All right, you're here in 2020 CF 2953. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant for sale and delivery of cocaine. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no contact with any witnesses. The bond will stay at $7,500. I'm not taking any action on the out on release case. I don't know what's going on with it. It's from October, and I don't believe anything's been filed in it, but, so make sure that you keep, do you have an attorney in that case?
No.
No, okay. Well, just make sure you keep your address up to date with the clerk's office, so any notices if that case does get filed, okay?
Okay.
Ms. Bush, do you have any indication what's going on with that case?
Your Honor, I'm having technical problems
Technical
here,
difficulties?
and I can't get into our case management system.
Your Honor, could you appoint her on that other case?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, nothing's been filed or anything like that, but I'll appoint the PD on that case, and then make sure you keep in touch with them. I don't know, the state has a little bit more time to file on that, not much longer, okay?
Okay.
All right, please tell me your name.
Roberto Silva.
All right, Mr. Silva, you're here in 2020 CF 2932AO. You're arrested for tampering with physical evidence and possession of drug paraphernalia, and I find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender in 2020 CT 1689, driving while license suspended, and I do find probable cause, and then I'll appoint the public defender. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and no driving without a valid driver's license. I'm gonna place you in pretrial release. Make sure you follow those requirements, and as well as all theirs, okay? All right, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Jason Simmons.
All right, Mr. Simmons, you're here in 2020 CF 2925AO. You're arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm. And I do find probable cause for that offense in 2020 CF 2924AO. It's carrying concealed firearm. And I find probable cause 2020 CF 15489. It's a violation of probation. Looks like out of here in Orange County, and I do find probable cause for the violation of probation. And 2020 CT 1690, it's a driving while license suspended, and I find probable cause for that, and I'll appoint the PD for all the cases. So for the aggravated assault with a firearm, no weapons, no firearms, no ammunition, no contact with any victims or witnesses in the case, and no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. The bond is $7,500. And carrying concealed firearm, no weapons, firearms, or ammunition, and no drugs or alcohol, and the bond will stay at the $2,500. On the VOP, the bond will stay set at none, and I think you'll see Judge Whitehead in a couple of days for that. And on the driving while license suspended, and you can't drive without a valid driver's license, and that bond will stay at $500. It looks like there's also the 5-day hold, but they did file the VOP on view. Okay? Pen died. All right, tell me your name, please.
Good morning, Judge. Willie Sims.
All right, good morning, Mr. Sims. All right, and Ms. Haling, did you see the bond correction sheet?
I don't believe so, Your
Okay,
Honor.
so it's $100,000.
Oh, okay, I did see it, thank you.
All right, so 2020 CF 2923AO, you're charged with trafficking and over 10 grams of methamphetamine or MDMA, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, and I find probable cause for that, and I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in that case. We'll go back to that one. 2017 CF 8002AO, it's a capias. The state did file an information, charged you with possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver, possession of more than 20 grams of cannabis, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And so I'll appoint the public defender in that case. And in that case, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. The bonds will stay at $10,000, $250, and $100. And we're back at the trafficking 2923 case. So no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no contact with any witnesses, and no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. And I'm gonna stay the bond at the $100,000 on count one.
Your Honor,
Count
would
two will stay at 1,000.
Would you consider a reduction on count one?
I mean, you haven't presented me any information, so I don't know.
Your Honor, may I have just a moment? Thank you. Your
Is he
Honor.
out on bond?
I don't,
There's a
Yeah,
note
I'm
on
not
the
sure
face
why.
sheet that
Yeah.
says note that he's out on bond.
it's written in there, but I just pulled up his history. I don't see anything. I think they were referring to the warrant because he has a probable cause as well.
Okay.
Your Honor, Mr. Sims is a resident of Orlando. He is not a flight risk. He does have a job here in Orlando. He advised me he makes about $700 a week when he's working. With that being said, Your Honor, he does have a prior failure to appear history. The last one is in 2006.
Let me stop you there. You just said that he told you that he made $700 a week, and the affidavit that I have says that he takes home 0 income.
She asked me how much money did I have. I told her I had 0 income right then.
So you make $700 a week.
Between 500 to 700 if I'm working for a week. But 700 is like around the most at a good week.
Okay. Continue.
Your Honor, we'll ask the court if you would consider setting the bond on count one at $25,000.
Okay, I'm gonna deny that request.
So glad I confirmed that now.
All right, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Excuse me, Luke Sparrow.
All right, Mr. Sparrow, you're here in 2020 CF 2946. And you are, or 29, is that 2946? Okay, it just, I don't know what that number looked like. Okay, and you were arrested pursuant to a warrant for principal to sale and delivery of cocaine. And I'll appoint the public defender's office, so no contact with any witness or any possible co-defendant, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and the bond will stay at 1,000. All right, good morning. Please tell me your name.
Barber and Lorraine Starcher.
All right, Ms. Starcher, you're here in 2019 CF 14093AO, and you're arrested pursuant to a warrant for a violation of pretrial release. The judge did revoke the release and set the bond at none. And does she have the public defender?
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like Judge Roche wants to see you, before she's gonna give you a bond.
Okay.
So the PD's office will have to file a bond motion for you, okay? All right, good morning. Please tell me your name.
Courtney Straubel.
All right, Ms. Straubel, you're here in 2020 CF 2929AO. You're arrested for burglary of a conveyance and petty theft, and I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. No return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred. And no contact with any victims or witnesses or possible co-defendants. And the bond will stay at $3,500. Count 2, I'll reduce to 100. I'm not gonna take any action on your out on release case. You have a driving while license suspended. You have a court date coming up.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't miss the court date, okay? If you get out, if you're out. Looks like they have is there a hold on her?
Just the first appearance they can.
Okay, so you're on probation. I don't know if they're gonna file a VOP, okay? But I don't have that before me. Why don't you talk to Ms. Haling if you have any questions? I don't want you to say anything that you're being recorded, okay?
I'm not on probation, though. They
Okay.
did a release and termination. That's why they did ROR, because
Okay.
the judge said, I don't know what's going on. It shows probation in 2 different counties. That's not possible.
Well, it
So that's why
says, okay, I don't know if they terminated your probation, but it says that you're on probation until 2021, but I don't know. But they didn't file an on-view VOP. If your probation officer believes that you're on probation and they want to file an affidavit for a violation of probation, they may do that, but I don't know, okay? So.
Is there any way I can get a reduction on my bond, though?
I'm gonna stay the bond, okay? So, but your attorneys will be able to file any motions for that. Do you have do you have the PD on the other case? Do we know? Is this it? Okay, so PD was previously appointed, okay? So you have the PD on the driving while license suspended case, okay? All right, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Sadie Wells.
All right, Ms. Wells, you're here in 2020 CF 1329AO. You're arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for trafficking in more than 28 grams of methamphetamine with a firearm, possession of a firearm while the commission of a felony, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. So, Ms. Haling, the bond schedule sets the bond at $200,000. Okay, so, but I'm probably not gonna do the $200,000 after reviewing the affidavit, okay? So before I get there, no weapons or firearms or any ammunition, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, and no contact with any victims or witnesses, or, sorry, no victims, but witnesses or co-defendants. All right? Okay, scared me. Sorry. That's okay. All right, so I'm gonna set the bond at $50,000 on count 1. Count 2 will be $150. Count 3 will be $100, and that's going to come with random urinalysis through pretrial release. Okay? right, please tell me your name.
My name is Harold Wilson.
All right, Mr. Wilson, you're here in 2019 CF 16057CO, and you were arrested pursuant to a capias for failing to appear. Is it a failure to appear? I just have a capias. That's all I have. Let's see. But there's nothing on it that says failure to appear.
Your Honor, this is a statewide.
Okay, so this, okay. I don't have any.
They have filed an information. I believe. That's what I'm saying.
All right, let's pull it up.
Yes, they've filed an information.
It looks like Ms. Belani represents you. No, that's a different co-defendant. Okay. Okay, so, and information was filed in the case. And Mr. Wilson is co-defendant C. And so he's charged with RICO and conspiracy to commit racketeering. So that's counts 1 and 2 only of the information. And the judge who issued the capias set the bond at $250,000 on each count. Other conditions of the bonds are no contact with any victims, witnesses, or co-defendants. No return to Target or Home Depot. Surrender your passport, so you'll need to surrender your passport if you have one to the clerk. Okay, but listen, if you have one, to the clerk's office within 12 hours of your release from the Orange County Jail. If you do not own a passport, you're gonna have to write an affidavit under oath, sworn and notarized, that you don't own a passport, okay? And your attorneys can help you file that. No weapons or firearms or any ammunition. I don't have the charging affidavit and it's not in the system, so I can't, and Judge Bunyan is the one who signed the warrant, so I'm not gonna disturb the bond today. So the PD's office will have to file a bond motion in the case. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, please tell me your name.
Timothy Wilson.
All right, Mr. Wilson, you're here in 2020 CF 2951. You're arrested for a warrant charging you with principal to sale and delivery of cocaine. And I'll appoint the public defender, no contact with any witnesses in the case, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. The bond will stay at $7,500. Do we still have Mr. Gutierrez Cordero back there? I had gotten a message back, but we're gonna end up resetting it, but I just wanna let him know if he's. Okay, we can bring him back in the afternoon to let him know. All right, what time is it? 11? What's the afternoon look like?
I have no idea.
Okay. Easy. He's easy. Huh?
Yeah.
Anything's easy compared to this morning.
Looks like about
Let's see, Let's do like 4.
19.
What do you guys want to do?
It's at 18 right now, yeah.
About 18,
I
they're
just-
saying?
Yeah, 18 right now.
11:45? Okay, that good with everybody? Okay, we'll be back at 11:45. Arlene? All right. All right, we're back on the record. It is March 4th, 2020. This is Judge Wish, Courtroom 1, Session 2. Can I have the parties announce themselves for the record, please?
Good morning, Lakeisha Halen, Office of the Public Defender.
Good morning, Edith Bush, for the Office of the State Attorney. I almost said the Office of...
Judge, do you have Gutierrez first?
I have him, yes. We can bring him in.
Gutierrez?
All right, Mr. Gutierrez, we're recalling your case. My JA reached out to Mr. Mills, and I guess he had said that he had told your girlfriend that he would not be here this morning. I don't know if that was relayed to you, but I'm going to reset it for tomorrow.
Okay.
For him to be here tomorrow,
Okay.
okay? So he said he will be here tomorrow.
Okay.
So, all right? So
Thank
we'll
you.
just reset you for tomorrow, okay? And that was 2019 CF 1499880 and 2019 CF 15400. Yes, in the AM. I'm gonna keep the warrants. All right, good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name, please?
John Cass.
All right, Mr. Cass, you're here in 2020 CF 161480. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant in which probable cause was found for grand theft third degree. And I'll point, well, I don't have a, do we have a form for Mr. Cass? Did you fill out a form for the public defender?
No, I did not. I'm going
Okay.
to get my own attorney.
Okay, all right, so Mr. Cass, no return back to where the offense is alleged to have occurred and no contact with any victims or witnesses in the case. The bond will stay at $3,500. It looks like you do have a hold for Bay County for some warrants in Bay County, okay?
Yes, there was one out there.
So you'd have to bond out on this case, and then I don't know what your, is it no bonds, or?
They said they were gonna set the bond, and they were gonna try to get me to bond out
I
here.
can't set you bonds on
No, no,
Bay County
they were gonna
warrants.
set it over here
No
to let us know.
There are no
There are no
bonds?
bonds, Your Honor.
Okay. So if they're set at no bond, you're gonna have to bond out here, and then they'll transport you over to Bay County.
Okay, I have no idea what this is.
Okay, that's the warrant, so that will explain to you what the allegations are.
Take the switch.
Okay.
Like this one.
All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name?
Ismael Conde?
Mr. Conde? Okay. You're here in 2020 CF 2938AO. You're arrested for aggravated assault, and I do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender, so no contact with any victim or witness, no return back to the offense scene at that business location, looks like the 2200 Consulate Drive, and no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. And the bond will stay at the $3,000. All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name?
Elijah Follin.
Mr. Follins, you're here in 2020 CF 2934AO. You're arrested for battery on a law enforcement officer, and I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, okay? And no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. I'm gonna stay the bond or pretrial release if they're able to qualify you.
He was qualified, Your
Oh,
Honor.
he was,
Yeah.
okay, so I'll do pretrial release, okay, Mr. Follins?
Thank
I did, it wasn't on the sheet.
It was updated.
Okay. All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name?
Billy Griggs.
All right, Mr. Griggs, you're here in 2020 CF 2936. You were arrested for possession of heroin and possession of fentanyl. Do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office. I do have to advise you of any reporting requirements that you may have at the Orange County Jail. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. And I'll stay the bond on count 1 at 1,000, and I'll ROR on count 2. And then Jackson bonded.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
And Bowie's also on.
all right. Tell me your name, please.
Anquan Owens.
All right, Mr. Owens, you're here in 2020 CF 2937AO. You're arrested for grand theft third degree of a motor vehicle, possession of ammunition by a convicted felon, and trespass in a conveyance. And I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. No contact with any witnesses, and no weapons, no firearms, and no ammunition. And the count 1 will be reduced to 150, count 2 will be 5,000, and count 3 will be 100. good morning. Tell me your, oh, sorry.
Mitchell.
All right, good morning. Tell me your name.
Amari Mitchell.
All right, you're here in 2020 CT 1695AO, and you were arrested for no valid driver's license. There was a bond correction sheet. It's a $500 bond. And I'll appoint the public defender. You're on probation in Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I don't want to resolve your case today. I don't know how that would negatively affect you. So, don't drive without a valid driver's license, and I'm gonna stay the bond at the 500. Looks like there is a 5-day hold.
That was closed out.
Oh, it's closed out. Okay, so no 5-day hold. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Just make sure before you take a plea that you talk to your attorneys, if you take a plea, that you make sure it won't negatively affect you, and if it is, that it's not gonna, that you talk to an attorney. How about that, okay? Ah. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you tell me your name?
Christian Terry.
All right, Mr. Terrier, here in 2020 CT 225AE. You're arrested for driving a license suspended as a subsequent offender. And I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you, and you're on probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we're not gonna resolve your case today. Don't drive without a valid driver's license. I'm gonna stay the bond at the 500, but I don't see any other holds. Okay? All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name?
Nicole Cornell.
All right, Ms. Cornell, you're here in 2020 MM 1719AO. You're arrested for battery and disorderly intoxication. You do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. So, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription, no contact with any victims in the case or any witnesses, and no return back to the victim's residence. I know you live on the same street. If it's, is it 500 feet or more away from each other?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so stay within stay 500 feet or more away from the victim's residence, okay? And no weapons or firearms or any ammunition. I am gonna place you in pretrial release with random urinalysis, so no drugs or alcohol. If you test positive, it can be a violation, and you can be held at no bond, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, tell me your name.
Jermaine Caudill.
All right, Mr. Caudill, you're here in 2020 MM 70AE. You're arrested for resisting an officer without violence and disorderly intoxication. And I do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender. Was there an offer?
There was, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, 30 days, Orange County Jail, 1 day, credit time served.
Okay, so I don't know if Mr. Caudill wants to accept that offer today.
May I have?
Sure,
I
but,
just,
okay, hold on, hold on.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing Mr. Caudill on his own recognizance?
No, he qualifies for pretrial release, so I would, it's an updated sheet.
Okay.
So, and it would be with random error analysis.
No one asked me what I get out for you right now.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Caudill isn't going to accept the offer.
Okay, so Mr. Caudill, no drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription.
No, I
And
stopped
I'm
doing
gonna
that.
place you in pretrial release with random urine analysis, so if you test positive for drugs or alcohol when they test you, then it can be a violation.
No, ma'am, I didn't. Okay. No, I didn't want it. I didn't want, I'd rather just bond out.
I'm not, I'm placing you in pretrial release.
Oh, so do I still have to bond out?
No. But I'm placing you in pretrial release.
Okay. I'm just trying to get clarification as far as the screenings, like how do that work?
They'll
Like,
explain
where
that
do
to you. They'll
Okay.
explain it all to you, okay? Right. All right, tell me your name.
Jesse.
All right, Mr. Key?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Key, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Okay. All right, Mr. Key, you're here in 2020 MM 200 AW.
Yes, ma'am.
You're arrested for trespass on property after warning, and I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Haling, did you talk to Mr. Key? Do you think he might wanna or be able to enter a plea? I know he's got some cases open, but
Yeah.
right now, what do you?
Yeah, I know we're not entering a plea for him today.
Okay. All right, so, Mr. Key, you can't go back to the Wawa
Yes, ma'am.
at 13501 West Colonial Drive. They trespassed you. Can't go back there.
Uh-huh. Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
All right. And I did appoint the public defender, I think I said that. So, no contact with any victims or witnesses in the case.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna ROR him. So, Mr. Key, keep in touch with the public defender's office.
Yes, ma'am. So,
Okay.
what I got, how much time I do with
You're not gonna, you're gonna get out, but you
All right.
gotta show up to court,
Yes,
okay?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Make sure you don't miss your court date,
I'm glad, ma'am. I'm glad, ma'am.
okay? I
No
took no
action on the
action,
executive
yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
All right, tell me your name, please.
Rebecca Lewis.
All right, Miss Lewis, you're here in 2020 MM 1725AO. You're arrested for trespass in a dwelling after warning, and I do find probable cause. Do we have a form for Miss Lewis? Yes. Okay, all right. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I don't know, if Ms. Bush, did you have an offer for Miss Lewis?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
It's private.
All right, so, there's no offer today, so you can't go back to the residence, okay? You can't go back to the victim's residence, you've been trespassed from there, and you need to stop going there. No contact with the victim either, and, the bond will stay set at the 500. I'm not gonna take any action on the out on release case. You do have a court date coming up in April, right? And you have an attorney. You need to keep in touch with them.
Mr. Rodriguez, bond confirmed.
Okay. And Medina Gonzalez bonded too, but that was Spanish, and then it still was in our list, but she
Yes,
bond,
bonded also.
okay.
Can we pass by Peterson?
Sure.
Ingram refused.
Mr. Ingram, or
Yes.
Miss Ingram?
Yes.
Okay, and so yesterday was a refusal too. I think that there was an offer, but do you know if anybody was able to talk to Miss Ingram?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Okay.
I personally.
So it's been 2 days, and, so I think I did appoint the public defender yesterday. I did. So, I'm gonna stay the bond at the 250. And no return back to the mobile gas station at 3000 West Colonial Drive. No contact with any victims or witnesses, and abide by the trespass warning. All right, good morning. Can you tell me your name, or good afternoon?
Good afternoon, Monquil.
Reddick?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Mr. Reddick, you're here in 2020 CF 2896AO. You are arrested for tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement and criminal mischief. And I do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. So, I think I did that yesterday too, did I not? No, okay. All right, so no contact with any victims or witnesses in the case. All right, and I'm just gonna order no contact. All right, and the bond will stay, well, can he be interviewed?
You can try to have him called down, yeah.
Huh?
We can call him down and try to talk to him.
Okay, so I'll stay the bonds at 1,000 or on 100, or pretrial release if he's interviewed and qualifies, okay? All right, tell me your name, please.
Cornell Hickson.
All right, Mr. Hickson. You're here in 2020 MM 107AA, and you were arrested for trespass on property after warning, resisting an officer without violence, possession of drug paraphernalia, and petty theft. And I do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender. Was there an offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
I think this was a possible plea. It was a 10-day offer, correct? Yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
No contact with any victims or witnesses, no return to the scene, restitution to Wawa of $5.49, abide by trespass warning and court costs.
There was a cost of investigation? Okay, I didn't have that from yesterday.
It was restitution.
Okay, I didn't have that written down from yesterday. What was it again?
$5.49.
Okay. So I have 10 days. He has credit for 3?
Yes.
Credit for
2? Okay. And then no return, no contact, trespass, and then restitution. Okay.
I'm sorry, he was arrested on March 2nd. And today is March 4th. Yesterday, he had 2 days credit time, sir.
Yeah, yesterday I had 2, so today would be, yeah. Okay, so that's what I thought, yeah, 3.
Your Honor, Mr. Hickson isn't going to accept the offer.
Okay, so Mr. Hickson, these are the conditions of your release. So no return back to the Wawa at 5820 Edgewater Drive. No contact with any victim or witness in the case. No drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. And abide by the trespass warning. And the bond will stay at 500, 100, 100, and 100.
Before we start, I have a...
Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yes.
Thank you.
Before we start, I have a job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, tell me your name.
Platniff, Darnell Sideline.
All right, Mr. Sideline, you're here in 2020 MM 1706AO. You're arrested for trespass on property after warning. You do find probable cause, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Did you want to try to resolve your case today? I don't want you to talk about the facts because it's not going to help you, okay? So if you want to talk about the facts, then Ms. Haling's going to have to talk about that to me, okay? I know you may want to, but it's not in your best interest.
Yes, I would like to resolve the case today because my mom, she's planning on moving back to her hometown country, and she wants me to join her. But I'm a citizen here, so I can't keep. I want to resolve the case today.
Okay. Was there an offer, Ms. Haling?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer is 5 days. He has credit for 2, no return to the scene, no contact with any witnesses, abide by the trespass warning, and court costs.
5 days. One more day, Friday. I have a hotel, you know. I'm living in a hotel, going job to job, you know. I hate when somebody describe how you look like that, going like. Yeah, I accept the offer.
Your Honor, Mr. Sideline is going to accept the offer and plead no contest.
Okay. Ooh, excuse me. All right, is that your signature at the bottom of the plea form, Mr. Sideline?
That's my signature, yes, correct.
Okay, did you understand everything that was contained in the plea form?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, you understand all those rights that you're giving up by entering the plea?
Yes.
Okay, are you on probation anywhere?
I'm not on probation.
Okay, good. But you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, deportation. Yeah, I'm a citizen here.
I know, but I have to ask you whether you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, the plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I do find a factual basis to accept your plea based on the affidavit. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days with credit for 2 days' time served. You can't go back to the 7-Eleven at 938 West Colonial Drive, abide by the trespass warning, and no contact with any victims or witnesses. And I have to impose court costs. I'll order you pay those by March 4th, 2021. That gives you a year. If you'd like to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, you must do so in writing within 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you, sir. All right, good luck. All right, anything else?
No, yeah.
Nothing from the state.
Okay, we'll be in recess until tomorrow. We're done for the day.